Responsibilities of citizens during a time of disaster. Nobody ever expects a natural disaster to happen to them. When a disaster occurs, many people feel sad for the victims, but never fully take into account that that could have been their home that was destroyed or their child that has been missing for days. But in reality, a disaster can strike anywhere at any time. It is not only the government's responsibility to act during the storm, but the citizens too. That means you are also responsible when a storm hits. So what are a citizen's responsibilities when a natural disaster occurs? A citizen should be prepared and have the knowledge of what to do before, during, and after a disaster occurs. This includes preparedness plans, having insurance, a knowledge of storms and the warning signals that accompany them, and staying calm. Going into a little more detail, preparedness plans are one of the most essential things a person can do to assure their family and themselves are ready for a disaster. These plans include evacuation plans, shelter plans, escape routes, and a place to meet up after the storm. These plans should not just be limited to a home. One should know their school, community, and workplace plans as well. A main component of staying safe at home is having a disaster supply kit. As well as a plan for yourselves, it is also good to have a plan for your home. This plan is implemented by buying insurance. It is important to know the types of disaster you could encounter where you live in order to buy the proper insurance. Hazard-specific insurance and flood insurance are the two best ways to ensure your home is not completely ruined by a disaster. Like I mentioned, knowing the types of disasters that could potentially occur around you is good for insurance purposes, but even more, it is the best way to prepare oneself for a disaster. For example, if you live in South Dakota, there is a very small chance of you ever getting hit by a tsunami. Therefore, you can spend time preparing for other disasters. It is also extremely important to know how your community warns you about upcoming disasters. Tornado warnings are usually sent out by sirens that are placed all over the town and are loud enough for everyone to hear. Helping others is also a responsibility all citizens have after a natural disaster occurs. You may think to yourself, I wasn't affected, so I don't have any responsibilities. This is false. Getting involved in your community when disaster strikes is one of the best things a person can do to help. Helping comes in the form of volunteering, monetary donations, and donated goods. The number one most important responsibility all citizens must remember when a natural disaster hits is to stay calm. This makes everything much easier for yourself and the people around you, including the government and volunteers.